here we go. So today's date is 3-18-21. All right, we're going to start with the whole brand new problem, and that way it will allow me to review with you what we've been learning Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, and then add the new stuff. So it's like a combo. All right, so here's the question. The school has 90 books for 15 students. Okay. Question is, how many books does each student receive? The school has 90 books for 15 students. How many books does each student receive?
We do 90 into 15.
What was that?
Do we do 90 into 15?
You're very, very low on the volume.
Do we divide?
Yes, because, back in Monday, what was your first step? Divide. Same thing. But before we do that, one thing I want to show you. My little shortcut. Because the number one, I think, problem kids are having is like, what's X, what's Y? When it comes to like building your table, I know I'm skipping ahead, but I think it's good to talk about it right now. Okay, this whole thing is called a word problem. Every math student's favorite, word problems. Woo, we can do 1,000 word problems. Yay. This part with the question, this sentence with the question mark, that's the actual question. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. You know that we're talking about 90 books and 15 students, right? So the two things we're talking about is books and students. But what kids are having trouble with is what's your X, what's your Y? And if you don't label that correctly, everything else is wrong. So it's very important that you understand what we label X, what we label Y. Here's my shortcut. Look for your question mark. How many books does each student receive? How many books does each student receive? Do you see that there's an S right there for students, or I'm sorry, for books? The S is for books, right? So when it is plural, when you see an S in the question, not the first part, the question itself, this, ladies and gentlemen, the S makes books the Y. Okay? So where you see the S, that rings a bell of, oh, that's my Y. Your Y is where your plural is, your S. Student, each student, one student, no S. They're asking for one student. That becomes your X. Okay? So your X is the one with the word without an S. It's singular, like in English class when you guys learned about plurals and singulars in English. Well, you're going to use it in math. So student, no S, that makes it your X. Books, that makes it your Y. The word with the S on it is your Y, 99% of the time. Okay? Now, first step is to divide. You're going to put the Y inside. Y is books, so 90 goes inside. And the X, which is students, goes outside. What is 90 divided by 15?
6.
6. 6 what? What does 6 represent? 6 what? What did you just solve for? 6 what?
Books.
Yes.
Books per student.
Yeah, my first period, they're like 6 students. And I'm like, oh God, no, 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 no. So the second thing you have to do is call it the constant of proportionality. The constant of proportionality. That's just a fancy word for unit rate. What is our constant of proportionality? 6. Where'd you get 6 from? When we divided. This number just transferred over. It is 6 books per student. If you divide and you're just like, cool, I divided. What in the world did I just solve for? Like, if you don't know it's books, read the question. Just the question, not the word prompt, the question. How many books does each student receive? How many books? Oh, 6 books. I solved for 6 books. So if you ever feel like you're solving it and then at the end you're just like, I don't even know what I did. Well, read the question. What did I solve for? Oh, 6 books. All right. Now, the third thing we have to do, 1 is divide, 2 is label your constant of proportionality, which is 6. Third thing is to divide. Okay? So, if you're doing your table, dude, label it 0, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. If you get to choose the numbers, by all means, use 0 through 4, 0 through 3. All right. We're okay? Okay. So these are the numbers you choose. You get to choose these numbers on X. Choose the easiest numbers in the world. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Easiest numbers. Don't be all complicated. Okay, now ask yourself, if you have 0 books, I'm sorry. Slow it down. If I have 0 students, how many books will 0 students get?
0.
0. Good. If I have 1 student show up, how many books do I give that 1 student?
6.
What if 2 students show up?
12.
3 students show up?
18.
Good. 4 students?
24.
Cool. What are we adding each time?
6.
6. Why? Because that's your unit rate. Constant of proportionality, exactly. Right here, guys, it's as simple as just adding 6. Some of you are like, I don't know how to fill out these tables. Dude, all you're doing is just adding whatever this number is. Plus 6, plus 6, plus 6. That's it. There's no tricks about it. But you got to make sure that you divide correctly. Because if you don't divide correctly, well, then the whole thing is wrong. And you got to make sure you label these correctly. That's why when I give you points, when you turn in your work, I'm checking this out. Because if you have this backwards, well, technically, everything's wrong if you put these backwards. All right. What did I show you yesterday? Yesterday, I taught you equation. So what's the equation for this problem?
Y equals 6x.
Brilliant. Some of you are like, what? Wow. Dude, it's super easy. You start with y equals this 6 is that 6 right there. Is that 6 right there. Is all those 6s right there. So this 6 is just the number you first divided with, which is why it's super important you divide correctly. Super, super important you divide correctly because it's everywhere. All right. So this is just a review of what we've done already. So this is everything we've done this week. You should have this yeah, I know how to do that, Miss Amelie. That's cool. I get it. That's easy. Okay, let me show you the next step, the new part today. The new part, so this is 1, 2, 3. The equation was 4. So the 5th thing I got to teach you is how to graph it. All right. So graphing is another step to proportional relationships. Now, you may have seen graphs like this, right? Maybe in elementary school or in 6th grade, you guys graphed on like this, right? Any of you ever graph on these coordinate planes?
I have.
Yeah. Maybe you did like a bunch of points. Maybe you connected the points and then like it magically became a picture. It's like, oh, cool, it's an elephant. If we were in class, we would have done that. Well, today we're gonna graph, but we're not gonna use the whole graph. We're gonna focus on this quadrant 1 graph right here. In 7th grade, we just typically graph just in this first quadrant. In 8th grade and beyond, you get to graph in all the quadrants. You get to expand. But in 7th grade, we just graph in this little tiny little square, okay? So I asked you to grab a ruler for today's class or a straight edge. If you have 2 pencils, it works perfectly. You take one pencil or pen and your other one becomes your straight edge, just like this. And like that. So if you have 2 pencils, you can literally draw a straight line. All right, so I want you to draw this like weird looking T. Basically, you're gonna be graphing in this corner right here. These involve negative numbers, and we typically don't look at those in 7th grade. We just focus all of our attention here, just like all of your attention should be in this Zoom meeting, right here. All right, when you graph, this horizontal line is always your X, and the vertical line will always be your Y. Okay, so this is your X and this is your Y. Don't do anything because I have some shortcuts for you. So just draw this and this with your straight edge. Okay, the next part. On your X, you're going to number them, but you're going to number the lines, not the boxes. What do I mean by that? Let me do it first on my paper and then I'll explain. Let me zoom in. So do you guys see how I'm numbering the blue lines? It is very important that when you graph, you number the lines, not the squares. We do not number squares. We number the actual blue lines. Now, Miss Lamelli, I don't have graph paper. Oh, no. Terrible. If you don't have graph paper, you have line paper. You basically draw it, right? Your X, Y. And then what you're going to do is you're going to just draw little tick marks and number the tick marks like that because you don't have graph paper. Such a shame. So little tick marks, 1, 2, 3. That's if you don't have graph paper and you're using line paper. We'll make it work. It's distance learning. You got to adapt to what you have. All right. So did you label your X's? Now hold on for your Y's. Just give me 1 second. X's are here. Your Y's. Do you want to work smarter or harder? I hope you guys want to work smarter and not harder. Gosh. Here's how you work smarter. Okay. On your Y's. If you out there in Zoom land, if you are the one creating your graphs, follow this. If you're the one literally creating from scratch the graphs, do it this way. Your Y's are going to go up by your constant of proportionality. So your Y's are going to go up by whatever this number is. So this number is a 6. So I'm going to count each line by 6. So the line you first drew is 0. This is 0. But then this is 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. I'm counting by 6, guys. Just adding 6 each time. So on your Y, do not go up by 1. If you go up by 1, you are working harder and no one's going to congratulate you on that. You got to work smarter here, kids. You got to go up by the unit rate. Trust me. Go up by the constant of proportionality. Constant of proportionality, okay? So we're going up by 6. Our constant of proportionality, just wrote that down. Constant of proportionality is 6, so I'm going to go up by 6. Do not go up by 1. Unless your constant of proportionality is 1. Don't go up by 1s, please. Dude, no. Go up by the constant of proportionality. All right. X's go up by 1s. Okay. So X represents students. I'm going to label them. And Y represents books, Try to label that there. Okay, so my X represents students, my Y represents books in my sloppy writing. All right, did we set up our graphs? We haven't actually graphed it. We just set up the graph. We set up the coordinate plane. All right, now we're gonna graph it. What do we graph? You graph your table. That's why we did a table. The table is used to graph. These numbers on your table are called called ordered pairs in the form of X, comma, Y. If you've ever graphed, that's what you were graphing, ordered pairs. So my first pair is 0, 0. My second pair is 1, comma, 6. So I just wrote these 318, 318, 424, 424. So basically I took this, just wrote it out, okay? These are called ordered pairs. This is how you graph. So my first ordered pair right here, 0, 0, would be right here where these two lines intersect. That's my first dot. That's the second most important dot of this whole unit, 0, 0. Check. My next dot is 1, 6. 1 is your X, so I go to X, I go to 1. I don't put a dot there. What's the second number? 6. So that means I go to 1, 6, 2, 12, 2, 12, 3, 18, 4, 24. Do you guys see how that works? Need some time to catch up. Where would the dot go on the 5? So if X is 5, what number do I go up to? If X is 5, what number do I go up to on the Y?
30.
Yes, nice. 30. What about 6? Where would 6 line up to?
36.
Beautiful. Nice. Good job. So, yes, Puma, hurry up. If you notice, it just goes up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1. So you can actually put more dots in your table, right? You can just keep going. It goes on forever. And then you can answer questions, right? If I have 7 students, how many books does 7 students get? Oh, 7 students would get, it's not even on here, 42. Oh, okay, the answer is 42. Okay, now take your ruler or your straight edge, connect the dots. They should be in a straight line. If they're not in a straight line, we have a problem. We have a problem. But it should be connected in a straight line. It's super important that you try to use a ruler. Or remember, 2 pencils work. A pencil and a pen, they work too. Something to write. You get an ID card or something. Even another piece of paper actually is not the best, but it does work. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you graph. It looks complicated because, some of you, this is your first time graphing ever. So it's like, oh my God, brand new. Some of you have graphed points before. So you're like, okay. I'm sure for everybody, going up by the unit rate is different. Maybe some of you who have graphed before, you're used to going up by ones. We don't want to go up by ones. We don't. We want to go up by the unit rate. Okay. I want you to right now go back in time to Monday's notes about the chips, bags of chips. Can you find that in your notes, the bags of chips? Okay. So we have our table, we have our unit rate, we have our equation from yesterday. So now we're going to graph this. So I have to graph it on the next page where I left some room. So a reminder, we're going to be doing the bags of chips, and this will be something I check in the notes today that you're going to turn in. So I'm gonna add a table. This is from Monday's notes. Sorry about that. Draw another XY, just like that. This line is your X.
Room for that.
This line's your Y. Whoops. What does X stand for in this problem?
Miss O'Malley,
Yes.
I don't have enough space. When I did that other one, when we did it with the bag of chips before, I used that space already.
So 2 things you can do. Take a random piece of graph paper, cut it, and then you're gonna tape it onto where it needs to go. Or find somewhere in your notebook where you can draw it and then just make sure this belongs to 3-15 notes chip back or something. It's your notes at the end of the day. You just have to make sure you can relate it. And then when you take a picture of it, I can be like, oh, I see what she did. She did the graph over there and the graph belongs to, okay, got it.
Like when we did the notes when we went back, I did like a hand space, but I used that when we were doing that notes.
Okay, so I gave you 2 options. So how to fix it. X, the bags. Y, the money. So let's label that. Bags, money. Whole point is for you to copy this down. Just figure out where, label it, so I know when you take a picture, I know it's the graph for the bags. All right. On your X, always count by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Your Y. On your Y, you're gonna count by your unit rate. I don't know what my unit rate, Miss Amelia, I forgot. Okay, cool. Go back. Oh, look, my unit rate is 1.4, 1.40. Cool. So here, you're going to go up by 1.4. This is where a nice sharp pencil will be very helpful. 1.4, 2.8, 12, carry the 1, 4.2, 4 plus 2 is 6, 5.6, 10, carry the 1 is 7, 8.4, 9.8. Okay. What did I do there? I just, in a very bad color, I just went up by 1.4, 1.4. I just kept adding 1.4, kind of like we did on our table. We just added by 1.4. Same thing here, adding by 1.4, adding by 1.4. All right, now we're going to graph our ordered pairs, which are 0, 0, 1, 1.4, 2, 2.8, 3, 4.20, 4, 5.60. All right, we have that. Now we're going to graph them. So the second most important dot is your 0, 0, which is here, right where these 2 lines cross. That's your 0, 0 right there, 0, 0. Now we're going to do 1, 1.4, 1, 1.4, 2, 2.8, 3, 4.2, 4, 5.6. Do you see how going up by your unit rate makes the graphing so much easier? You don't have to estimate, like, if you went up by ones, it's like, okay, cool, you went up by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, where is 1.4? Oh yeah, it's in between 1 and 2. I'm gonna guess right there. So you're like not really creating an accurate graph. You're kind of guessing because you don't know where 1.4 is. If you set it by your unit rate, dude, there's no issues. There's no issues. It's boom, it's right there. It's done. Okay, I'm gonna connect 5, but it's not on my ordered pair. It's not on my table. Yeah, but I just follow this. Up 1 over 1. So 5 would be 7. Then 6 would be 8.4. 7 would be 9.8. Just like that. Grab my ruler, connect your dots. Take your time, make sure it's a straight line, make sure your dots are connected, make sure the line's straight. So there you go. This is called your graph. You just graphed another problem. Bags represents my X. Money represents my Y. I graphed it. X goes up by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then my Y's go up by my unit rate. Any questions? All right, let's do the next one, which was the cereal boxes, which are easier numbers. So we said that the unit rate was 2. Unit rate was 2. All right, so let's graph it. Cool. Got plenty of room on this one. So we're going to graph it. We're going to start with your X and Y axes, just like so. This is my Y. This is my X. Get a head start. See if you guys can label the X and Y. Head start, head start, head start. Okay, so hopefully you were able to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 without me. And then you realize that, okay, I'm going up by 2. That's my unit rate. That's my constant of proportionality. So did you go up by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14? It's easy to go up by 2s. You all know how to count by 2s. Yeah, in 7th grade. You all know. Okay, X is boxes, so I'm going to put boxes here. And Y is my money. My money. So boxes and money. So here are my ordered pair. 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6. Slower? Okay. I'll take a water break. All right, so then we graph them. 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, 4, 8. 5's not even on my list, but I can do it. 5, 10, 6, 12, 7, 14. I can go on forever and ever. It's pretty easy one to graph. There it is. Again, on your X you go by ones, on your Y you go by your unit rate. The unit rate on this one was 2. All right, we're going to do one more together, which is the cupcakes one. Cupcakes. So I can make 30 cupcakes in 5 minutes. So we decided that the constant of proportionality was 6 cupcakes per minute. So we did 6 cupcakes per minute. So we're going to draw our XY for this problem. This is pretty standard right now. You always label this one X and this one Y. You can put it whichever corner you want. If I look at my table, I know my X is minutes and my Y is cupcakes. The work is already done. You already did the hardest part. You already did the work. Now it's just showing the work in a different manner. Instead of doing it on a table, we're going to do it on a graph. But you already did the hardest part on Monday and Wednesday. All right, on X, you're always going to go up by 1 on the blue line. Do not number the boxes. I can't even count today. 7, 8. Okay, make sure you label the lines and not the boxes. Okay, on your Y, you're going to go up by your unit rate. In this case, it's 6. Hey, didn't we already do one with 6? We did, didn't we? Yeah, we did. I remember. I'm not losing it. All right. So your ordered pairs are 0, 0, 1, 6, 2, 12, 3, 18, 4, 24. Okay. So 0, 0, 1, 6, 2, 12, 3, 18, 4, 24. Let's just keep going. 5, 30, 6, 36, 7, 42. 8 would be 48 up there, right? We can just keep going, going, going. They all meet in a straight line. And they all start at 0, 0.